why it is difficult to pick something new. And the first thing that comes to mind is that there is a lot of choice, and the choice is so big that it is even hard to start picking something, because imagine you go to a store and there is 15 different things of the same. So imagine you can do everything from running to skateboarding to, I don't know, dancing. And to pick one, it means to not pick something else. And when you see it, you get really discouraged, and there is that phenomenon when you have a lot of choice, it is hard to choose. So it takes some effort to choose something. It's constant stimulation, and there is no way to think, or at least I believe so, that imagine you don't have any moment in your time during the day when you're not doing something. I mean, you are not reading, you are not listening to music, you are not watching reels, you are not contacting your friends, and these moments become rarer and rarer every day. How can you think of something new or to choose something when you don't have time to choose? So I, I have seen it many times, even in my own days when I've tried to do something new. Let's just say, for example, I tried to pick dancing, and it was almost impossible to choose it before because I had no time to do it. I was occupied by work, by doing something that I enjoy, like playing video games, reading, and I have never had time to sit and think for a while. Do I want this, for example? Think about it for a while, and boredom often brings the change you need, or you become like really creative on that front. So you know where to go. When you first start something, it means you're gonna suck at it, and to suck, it means to take a hit to your ego, and not everyone wants to suck, and I do get that, but there is a place for growth if you decide to suck at something, even though you know that later you'll enjoy it like really much. But to stick in the very first times, like first lessons, first tries to do something, I mean, like first morning routine is gonna be disastrous because you're not used to it. Like people get up at like spring and start running in the morning, and they hate running like for the rest of their lives. That's why you need to just stick it out, and probably you will like it. So I have seen this many times with kids that try different activities, like they go to different sports like football, basketball, but they never stick to it for a really long time. They say I don't like it, and they just switch it every year, every half a year. It doesn't matter. But to really enjoy something, you have to stick with it for a long time. Like if you don't, there will be no enjoyment to be found because you still suck at it, or you don't like many of the aspects there is just because you have not gotten better, or you don't see the progression you wanted, and it just crumbles upon you. When it comes to enjoyment of new stuff, there is also that thing called habit. When you do something out of a habit, you start to automatically enjoy it a little bit more. For example, you cook your food every day and you start to enjoy it because it becomes better every time you cook it. So a habit makes your new thing you're doing just a little bit more manageable. And the reason being, it requires time and patience. So because to form something that is not here, people say that it's 21 days to form a habit or something. I think it's even more. And even then you can break it because it's like a building blocks. You have one thing that is dependent on another. For example, you get up in the morning, you have like few habit routines like brush your teeth, go to shower, and then let's just say, for example, you make your breakfast. So for example, if you don't take shower, you probably won't make your breakfast because you had that habit in sequence. So keep that in mind, and everything needs to come in order. To figure that order, you need time and you need to be patient with yourself. Overwhelming thoughts. Like when I do think about like video making and why I keep sucking at it, I think that mostly it is dependent on how much I need to do and my thoughts on how much I need to do. Because imagine when I start doing it, if I think about every little detail I will have to do, I get easily overwhelmed and I damn hate it. I do not want to do it because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about that I need to film a video, write a script, edit this, maybe something is wrong, edit B-roll, and especially get footage that I need to fill in the gaps and make everything coherent. And when I sit at my table and I think about this, it's like, do I really want to do it? you can solve this, but it requires you to look at very narrow windows. For example, I use this rule when I make a huge video, like 10 minutes, for example. I use a technique of 5 minutes. If I do it for 5 minutes and I don't like it anymore, I just turn it off and that's it. You don't need to grind it through or go through everything, just ignore and do it anyways. It's a good mindset, but it won't work in the long term. To me, one more technique that helps is I try to look at it at very small pieces. Like there is a saying, you can eat elephant only by little pieces. So if there is like a 10-minute video, for example, I try to do 15 seconds. If I am really lucky, I might do even 30. But the reason being, it's very narrow and it can easily be done. It definitely helps and it stops the overwhelming thoughts because you have a win under your belt. At least you get closer to your goal. You are not like sitting here and trying to do 100, but you cannot even do 5%. You need to get rid of it by just looking at a very narrow thing, and probably you will make even more because you started. And most of the time, if you start, you tend to finish. Because there is very little dopamine compared to entertainment you can easily access with your phone, tablet, or your TV. Imagine you know that you are not good at filmmaking or videography, and you see that you have to do A, B, C, D, and F to make a mediocre video you're not even satisfied about, but you can turn on TV and watch your favorite show, and most of the time you will turn on that show and you will just ignore the video making altogether. But you know that you would like to do it. Like, dopamine is a strange thing. Most of the time it comes from something very easily, and from other things it's way harder. To me, the more I do like activity that challenges me, the more I try to resist it, but after that I get way more dopamine for doing that even through resistance. So I know that watching a show will give me more dopamine in the short term, but later on I will just feel very unaccomplished and I will have just failed myself because I have put the show instead of me doing something that I believe in. My advice is just to find time to stop doing everything that is digital. So I mean, stop watching TV, stop watching computer, playing games, calling your phone, and just spend an hour at least outside just doing nothing. And that will make you very happy doing even the hard things. I mean, for example, if you have never enjoyed reading books, by not playing computer games while not watching TV shows, the books will give you way more dopamine than it did before, and that in turn will motivate you to read even more books because your dopamine baseline just got down from being outside for 1 hour. Let's just say, for example. So can be controlled, but it requires for you to be able to withstand boredom. And to withstand boredom, it will take enormous amount of effort, because being bored nowadays nowadays it seems like something you should not feel. Lastly, I wanted to talk about environment and its effect on how you approach new things and how you broaden your thinking. Imagine your peers are not even trying to improve and are just looking narrowly into one thing. For example, if you are from village, for example, and you just, I don't know, in a farm, most of the time parents and your siblings and everyone will just work farm. They won't think about reading about physics and improving your understanding of the world around you, just for example. So environment forces you into this little cage, when if you try to break this cage, you might upset everyone around you because you're different. And to be different, it requires you to go against the grain. And environment is having a great impact, especially if you don't have a very strong backbone. I mean, you're not ready to come face to face into adversity and try your best, try your actual best in becoming better. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you for listening, and more rambling will come soon. I just haven't thought about how to tell a story and get all of my footage for this. So at least I have filmed something that I wanted to film. I hope it is of nice quality, and we'll see you next time. See ya.